Good evening to you all. You are welcome to our virtual teaching and learning, and I hope you have been enjoying the lessons so far. Before we move on to what we are supposed to do today, I would like to remind you to subscribe to the channel and also recommend it to your friends to also subscribe. In our last discussion, in our previous discussion, we looked at the dangers that the Trans-Saharan traders faced in the Trans-Saharan trade or in the Trans-Saharan caravan trade. And if you can remember, we looked at some challenges or problems like sandstorms, like lack of accommodations, like attacks from the Tuaregs, scorpions and snake, of course, the snake bites. So those were some of the dangers that we all discussed about. Today we are looking at the effects of the Trans-Saharan trade on the West African or on the Western Sudanese states. So the effect of the Trans-Saharan trade on the Western Sudanese states. And you should know that the Western Sudanese played an important role in the trade. Basically, they were the people whom the North Africans were trading with, and they were the principal people who were engaged in the trade, and the Berbers were only serving as a middleman between the West, of course, the Western Sudanese people and that of the North Africans. So basically, we are looking at how trade or this trade affected the states of the Sudanese empire or regions. And don't forget that in every trade comes with it so many benefits sometimes to the country or the state which is involved in the trade. So let's take a look at our lesson objectives. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to discuss the effect of the Trans-Saharan trade on the Western Sudanese. So how did the trade affect the Western Sudanese people? So let's quickly take a look at the effects of the Trans-Saharan trade on the Western Sudanese states. So firstly, there was a widespread of instabilities in the regions where these commodities were collected from. There was a widespread of instabilities in the regions where these commodities were collected from, which then meant that there was some sort of chaos in the areas where certain commodities of items were gotten from, that is in the Western Sudanese region. Now this was due to constant raids in search for gold and slaves, where many people were displaced and others taken as slaves that were needed by the North Africans. It also created the formation of states and kingdoms in Western Sudan. The trade created in the rulers of the existing developing, as well as areas that produce gold, kola nut, and salt. And for instance, Ghana extended its conquest as far as north in order to take control of salt and copper producing areas of Takaza, which was responsible for salt, and Takeda, also responsible for copper production. So we can recall that some of the items of trade in the Trans-Saharan trade was gold and slaves. And we are saying that the desire to get these items for the North Africans led to instabilities in the area or chaos in the Western Sudanese regions. And for instance, slaves were gotten through rape, and they go and raid a nearby village. And of course, you know the troubles that come with raiding, and of course gold. So the search for these two items in particular led to a lot of people being displaced. So people ran away from their area or their homes because they feared that they could be raided or they could be captured as slaves. Now, on the other side also, the trade also led to the formation of certain states and kingdoms. And of course, we are saying that even existing ones also were expanded. Now, the reason was that the gold producing areas like gold and kola nut and salt, these areas became popular. All right. And more so as a result of the availability of these commodities in those areas, other states wished to conquer or to attack those states which were endowed with these items of trade such as gold, salt and others, so that they can control the trade. And so that again also ignited or led to more chaos or instability. And for instance, Ghana conquered, of course, went as far as the north, okay, to conquer Takaza and Takeda in order to just get control of the salt and copper that were in those areas. So all these led to instability in the region, okay, as a result of the trade. Good. Let's take a look at the next one. Please do away with the last one. That is not the last one, it's a mistake. Now, there was also the emergence of new social class. So as a result of the trade, there was also the emergence of new social class. That is a new class of people in the Western Sudanese region. Now, two new classes of people emerged in the Western Sudan as a result of the trade. Now, the first class was made up of the resident foreign merchants who lived in their own quarters of the towns. The second class was a group of local professional traders such as the Douala or the Wangara among the Mande and the Hausa people. The trade promoted the use of luxury goods and also improved the standard of living of the West Africans. So we are basically saying that the trade led to the emergence of two new social classes. The first class was the resident foreign, of course, merchants. So those who had come from the Middle East to settle, merchants for that matter, traders who had come from the Middle East to settle in North Africa, and they had their own places of abode. They were the first class of people. Then the second class was also local professional traders. So apart from those who had come from the Middle East, some local traders, professional traders also emerged. And these people, example, we had the Douala traders or the Wangara, and these people are from the Mande and then the Hausa states. All right, they also emerged. So possibly those were the people who were trading with of course, the resident foreign merchants. Okay, so all these two classes of people engaged in the trade as well. All right, so they were all engaged in the trade, but the difference is that some of them were foreign, while some others were also local. Good. Let's take a look at the third effect of the Trans-Saharan trade and the Western Sudanese states. Now, the profitability of the trade led to the rise of powerful kingdoms in West Africa. Examples, we had the Soninke in nation Ghana, the Madinga in Mali accumulated a lot of wealth. Now, we are saying that the trade also led to the rise of powerful kingdoms. And you know, trade in history has been the backbone that has, you know, enabled a lot of states to rise. And Ghana, for instance, the Soninke people who lived in Ghana enjoyed a lot of wealth in the trade. Now, to ensure their influence in maintaining the trade, they annexed the neighboring communities in search for a wide place to exploit gold and other commodities. Now, besides, the trade also helped to project the fame of Western Sudanese states abroad, that they became known in North Africa and the Muslim world in general. For instance, as early as the 8th century AD, Ghana was well known in the course of the Abbasid Caliphate, or the Abbasid Caliph of Baghdad, as the land of gold. So the trade led to the rise of powerful empires in Africa. Some of them became very famous as a result of the trade. Example is what we have of Ghana, that Ghana even became well known in the Abbasid Caliphate of Baghdad, and Baghdad at this time, it was a Muslim country, and therefore the ruling dynasty was the Abbasid Caliphate. It was known, they were known as land of gold. So these empires became powerful. They got money, a lot of wealth, and then they attacked even their neighboring countries, okay, or their neighboring communities in search of this gold, okay. And you can also say there's exactly the same thing here, you know. Scientists, of course, wanting to, you know, control the access of gold, were attacking other local states that we know here. Good. Now let's take a look at the fourth one. It also it resulted in the provision of regular source of income. So moreover, the rulers of Western Sudan had their own power and authority strengthened. The rulers had regular income through custom duties, which they levied on the imports and exports. Again, they gained absolute control over goods of great political importance, such as horses and iron. For the production of powerful weapons, the taxes they collected on goods provided them with the opportunity to employ well-educated Muslim traders as advisors, civil servants, and ministers to help in the running of the kingdoms. So basically, the trade also gave the Western Sudanese kings wealth or income, and the income was gotten as a result of the custom duties that people paid when their goods passed through the territories of these West African states. And don't forget, Ghana gains a lot of money from the port, all because if your goods pass through the port, you have to pay custom duties. That is the same thing happening here. And because of the wealth that the Western Sudanese kings had, they were able to employ well-educated Muslims. And these well-educated Muslims traders were employed as advisors. Either they would become advisors or civil servants, and also or ministers. So that was the role of the Muslim traders in the political administration of the Western Sudanese states. It could be asked anywhere that what were the educated Muslims employed for. They were employed as advisors or civil servants or ministers to help in the running of the kingdom. So basically, that is the income that they got, and what the Western African Sudanese kings use this income for. Let's take a look at the last three. The trade led to the exploitation of natural resources. So the Trans-Saharan trade promoted the exploitation of natural resources such as gold and salt, which later made the Western Sudan famous across the length and breadth of Europe and Muslim world. So, basically, gold and salt was mined or exploited so that it could be sold. The trade again led to the development of craft industries. So the trade led to the development of craft industries. Kobe became known for shoe production, and Hausa states also produced high quality of craftsmen, weavers, dyers, tanners, and leatherworks. These items were exported to areas including North Africa and the Mediterranean states. So because a lot of traders came into the Western Sudanese region, people were willing to buy some of these items, shoes and other leatherworks. And so it promoted or it developed the craft industry in the Western Sudanese region. Now the last one, the trade also facilitated the spread of Islam. And it was through trade that Islam came to the Western Sudanese people. Please take notice, it was as a result of trade that Islam led. So Islam did not come to Western Sudanese people through war, as it was done in the North Africans, or in the case of the North Africans. In the Western Sudan, Islam came there peacefully, and it was basically through trade. So through the activities of the Trans-Saharan traders, Islam spread into Western Sudan, and this influenced the Western Sudanese. The major participants were the Muslim Berbers and the Arabs from North Africa along the Mediterranean region. They came with their culture, and that were superior to that of the natives. Islamic doctrines were widely spread and accepted as a medium of communication in commercial transactions as well as belief. So the Muslim Berbers and the Arabs were the people who were engaged, the principal people who were engaged in the Trans-Saharan trade, and therefore, of course, they were able to spread Islam peacefully through trade to the Western Sudanese people. So good, we have come to the end of our discussions, and this is what I have for you to try your hands on. What for ways did the Trans-Saharan trade contribute to the development of the West African Sudanese empires? And this was an object question in 2012. I hope if you are asked to do so, you will be able to do it confidently. Subscribe to the channel. You can WhatsApp me 054-208-3047 with any of your questions. Thank you. We shall meet again. Bye.